Okay. Well, it's a short week for us, so we will put one game to bed this afternoon and then start all of our focus on Rutgers with our team probably about 45 minutes after we put the game to bed. So what we'll do is we will give the players day off yesterday instead of today. Players will be in this afternoon, and starting around 3:30, we'll have our first meetings since our last game. So we'll talk to them a little bit about Maryland, what we need to do, and then move on. Coaches have been at it since yesterday morning, really working on Rutgers. They've had a bye week, so they're a little bit ahead of us right now. So now it's our time to really focus in and try to catch up and be ready to go for Friday evening at 6 o'clock. Excited about the game. Congratulations to the Mariners yesterday. Huge win. So hopefully they can win the next two in a row, and then there won't be a conflict on Friday of having two games at the same day. But that being said, still excited for our evening. Games at 6, so no conflict there, and excited for a huge turnout. Every game we played on the road since I've been here has been sold out. So all the games last season, all the games this season. And that's what Big Ten football is all about. It's about unbelievable crowds. It's about students getting behind their teams. It's about all the alumni support. And it's homecoming this week. We're expecting a huge crowd. Love a sellout. That's kind of what the expectation has become in this conference. So it's pretty cool when you go, no matter if you're going to all the way across the country like we did this past week, or you're playing more local. It seems like sellouts are the thing to do. So fired up there, and obviously learned a lot about our team this past week. Learned about a team that will fight all 60 minutes. I think we have outscored our opponents 74-10 in the fourth quarter, and I think that's a great indication of the way our guys get better as the game goes on. So we've got a great challenge ahead of us with Rutgers. Coach Schiano is a fantastic football coach, has had a great program. We went to New Jersey a year ago, and they beat us 21-18, and we need to see if we can play better this year than we did last.
Is there any update on John Mills?
No update at this point in time. We'll evaluate it. We're only in walkthrough mode today, so it'll be a better indication once we can put pads on.
With Carver and Durfee, is there any hope of getting either of those guys back soon, or are those more long-term injuries?
No, I don't think that they're too long-term. That's not the indication that we have, but I don't know if they'll be back for Friday or not.
Jedd, you look at the 10 drives from the second half of the Ohio State game until about midway through the second half of the Maryland game. 6 of those drives go for 8 plays or more, and then you guys turn around and you force Maryland to go 3 and out twice in a row. What was the change that you saw from the defense there just on those 2 drives to kind of like turn the momentum around?
Yeah, you're saying the 10 defensive drives since Ohio State. I think what happened was we settled in at halftime. We had a good idea of how to get off the field on third down against them. And they came back in the first drive, and they hit on a couple things, that first drive of the second half. And then after that, our guys, let's say, turned it up a notch, and they understood the importance of getting off the field. They continued to play better at what we're asking them to do. More guys are getting experience every time they go out and play. That's a beautiful part of playing younger players, that every time that they go play, they get a little bit better. They get a little more experience. They maybe seen something for the second time, not the first time. And Coach Walters, really put us in a great position to be successful in that third and fourth quarter, and our team was able to capitalize from it.
A little more with injuries. Takario Davis and Javon Parker were both listed as questionable this past week. Do you expect either of them back on Friday?
Yeah, I would hope so. Javon should be back on Friday, and hopefully Takario will be as well. He went through all the pregame warm-up, fully uniform, and just didn't feel like we could play him in this one. But very hopeful we can play him this coming Friday night.
Could you talk a little bit about Javon? He's been pretty diligent here, coming back for 12 months from an Achilles.
Yeah, it was Achilles, and then it was a knee. It wasn't just one thing, and we just had to get him right, get him healthy, and we have a really good defensive line right now, and we weren't going to rush him back in with the way we were playing up front with our defensive line. He wasn't safe to put him back in at that point in time. We're now at a place where I think he's feeling more comfortable, feels like he could use all of his lower body strength. And if he can go, he'll be another addition to Ontario and Bryce and Tai and Logan and Samote. And we got a big group of defensive linemen that, some guys played maximum of 30 plays, some guys played 12. So we'll have to see. Plus Armand's back, so we'll have to just see how it all works.
What was your analysis on DeMond's interception? Was there a miscommunication between him and Denzel there, or what sort of happened there?
I just missed it behind Denzel. Same exact throw that he hit 3 times against Ohio State. Just happened to be to Desmond and to Denzel. He just let it go and it went behind. It just slipped out of his hand, I think. It just ended up going behind him right to the safety rather than, I think we all know, he hits that throw 99 out of 100 times. And then Denzel's really running on a safety.
How did you see him respond to having a tough first half? Obviously, he played quite well there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that he's tough as nails, and we probably didn't do a good job getting him going early, and needed to find him in a better rhythm. And then when we got going a little bit, we had I think a 10 or 12 play drive, that third drive of the game, and he felt a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more in rhythm. And then even then, that fourth or fifth drive, we wound up having to get a takeaway and then not converting on a fourth down, and he came out in the second half just ready to roll. And you look at the first half or the first drive of the second half against Ohio State. We drove right back down. We drove down there in 6 plays and got to the 3-yard line and wound up kicking a field goal there. And the same thing, we felt like we just played with great momentum and energy and came out of the second half offensively. And DeMond led us down there for a field goal. And then we wound up going 3 touchdowns in a row. And kid's a really good player.
You mentioned that second half you guys took a lot of the short passes underneath that they were kind of leaving open. Do you have an ideal distribution of short, medium, long passing when you call a game?
No, kind of what they give us. They showed on film, there's probably be a little bit more opportunity to take some shots down the field. I think if we hit Denzel and we hit Raiden, those first 2 passes, we would have had probably 150 yards passing on 2 plays. So it's just kind of the way it goes, the way the game goes. Wound up missing on those 2 vertical shots, and then they played like we thought they would, real sticky on Denzel with some help over the top, and then we wound up just having some protection breakdowns at different times that caused it a little bit more challenging to sit in the pocket and make some deep throws. But I thought that really the team responded very well. Got our screen game going, and that really helped as we continued to move forward.
Coach, first road win in conference play in 2 years. Of course, you probably want to win every game 45-10 or whatever it is. But,
Sure.
But a close game like this, what does a young team like yours learn from winning a tough game like this, especially where you're going to come from behind?
Yeah, I think they just continue to believe that they're a good football team, like we've been telling them. And, I think the whole road game, home game thing, we've gone to the road, played against our rival in a solid game. We won. Now we went on the road to the East Coast, played in front of a sellout, Parents Weekend. We came away with a win. It's a matter of our team just playing well. And that's really what it comes down to. Road games are always going to be hard. They're always going to be hard. You're playing in a sold-out crowd every single week. So we're going to have a home game, and we hope our home game is just as hard for Rutgers. And that's what we're looking for, and I believe that our crowd is phenomenal. So I think that our fans are going to get our guys going. I hope our team continues to respond. But what I love about our football team is they did not care that it was road, home, whatnot. They just wanted to play really well, and they didn't care we were down 20-0. They just wanted to keep on chopping wood, keep on playing hard, keep on, getting a first down, getting a stop, getting a first down, whatever it might have been, and then turning it into scores. And that was pretty cool to see.
When you look at Rutgers' passing game, what are some of the things you can use from last year's matchup with their wide receivers as you play some of those same guys this year?
Yeah, I think that'll be up to Coach Walters and the defensive staff as they go through all of the, all the ball plays that Rutgers runs, and they've got a really good receiving core. They're throwing the ball very well this year. They've clearly put a focus on their passing game. Just watching a couple of their games, watching their 2 Big Ten games, you could see that they're focusing in on really being able to work it to their receivers and give them those jump balls and finding one-on-one matchups, and that's what they look to have been doing. And then teams that are giving them some RPO game, that's a big part of his program as well, his system. But I think that our guys will obviously watch last year's game. Different than our situation on the offensive side, it's 2 new defensive coordinators. On the defensive side, it's the same offensive coordinator from last year.
How would you assess your offensive line performance against Maryland? It seemed like everybody had a little issue at one point with a penalty or a legal snap or getting beat on a sack. It wasn't their best effort.
Yeah, we had 2 illegal snaps, which was unfortunate, and we have to avoid those. We had a false start, so we had 3 penalties. We're trying to not have penalties, but that's part of the game. And disappointed that did occur. We had a holding penalty on a scramble, which is challenging when the quarterback leaves the pocket. We played with what ended up being 2 new offensive linemen with Max starting and then with John going down, with Pocky going in. We went against a really good defensive line, a defensive line that led the nation in sacks, that led the nation or a defense that led the nation in interceptions, a team, one of 3 teams that's never been behind in a game except for against us with 3.5 minutes left, a team that was giving up 10.9 points a game. So I think that, it was a challenge for our offensive line, and I think that's because of the fact it was an elite defensive line, that they've got 2 fantastic pass rushers.
What were the emotions for the team last year after the Rutgers game? It seemed like just kind of one of those games where everything that could have gone wrong kind of did.
That was a disappointing loss, but it's a completely different team. And, it was obviously going across the country. They had an incredible environment, blackout. That was, they had a special night that night, and 21-18 final, I think it was, and wound up. We just, we weren't able to score. We just weren't able to score. We were inside the 2-yard line on a 4th and 2 and didn't get in. We wound up having to kick a field goal on the 2-yard line. We wound up having to, I think we missed 3 kicks in the game. We wound up, having a critical penalty to start the game that we were driving right down to the 20-yard line. So things didn't go our way in that game. And it's also because they're a good team. And it's also because they wound up, they're a bowl team. I think they had 7 or 8 wins last season. Coach Shiano has always done a great job, and we have to play better than we've played the last 5 games to get a victory on Friday night. And we'll do everything we can to do that.
In his first start of the year, how do you feel Maxis McCree fared against those top-tier pass rushers you were talking about?
I think he had good plays, and I think he had plays that he'd like to continue to work on, but that's going to be part of the process. He's not just his first game this year, but first game back that he was starting since he got injured. I think it was against Iowa. So that's a lot of weeks ago, and that's a lot of football ago. So he's continuing to improve, and we're most likely going to need him again this week. But, we still have to wait and see what happens with Carver. But we'll most likely, start Max again and let Max let it rip. And I bet you he'll be better this week than he was last week.
The TV broadcast showed Damon throwing on the sideline and kind of shaking his hand.
He had a cramp.
Okay. And then, obviously a lot of talk over the offseason about Jonah reworking his body and wanting to be more durable and everything. 26 touches or something like that in this game. I'm just curious, 5 games in, how you feel like health-wise and everything he's holding up so far.
Yeah, I think he's doing well. I mean, we have him in on kickoff return. We have him on the punt shield. We have him in probably 75% of the offensive snaps, if I was to guess what exactly the percentages were. I think this past game we had 18 carries. He's doing great. He worked really hard at it. He worked really hard this offseason to get his body in a position where he could continue to take some hits and also avoid some hits. He made some unbelievable catches this past game and also did a great job in the screen game. So Jonah's going to, I can't say enough good things about Jonah. Just continue to lead the nation in touchdowns, continue to lead our team in GPA, and we'll see what we can do to avoid a lot of hits. But he's a running back, and that's going to come.
How did Rainey Sale come out of practice last week with supposedly no limitations?
Good. I'm expecting him to play this week.
How would you evaluate Jacob Barley's performance on Saturday? He had a really good game.
Great. Jacob was our dog of the week. He won that award. He had 6 tackles. He had unbelievable communication. He did a fantastic job of trying to put us in the best possible position on every single play. He was physical. He was around the ball, and he's a special player. He's a special player.
What are the attributes that make him similar or different to Tariq and what Buddha was doing out there?
They have a lot of similar skills in regards to their ability to run and hit. They play with natural leverage. They are both willing to go after the football, try to strip it away, punch it away. They have an aggressiveness about playing linebacker. Jacob has been with me for a lot of years, so he has a confidence to talk, a confidence that he knows that he can be a great leader and feel really comfortable of sharing our message. That's a big part of Jacob is he's a kind of what Jonah is on the offensive side. Has just been a part of it for a long time and knows what we ask of everybody and is able to be an enforcer at times of standards and rules and values, and also be somebody that leads by example, whether that be in the weight room, the training room, the film room, or on the field during the games.
How do you think the chemistry between Demond and Decker DeGraff has grown over the course of the year? It felt like those two were really insane.
I think this past week was a career high for Decker at 6 for 60 or 6 for 62. What was nice about it is that Decker was very confident out there. So the ball was, stuck on him, but, there was no shying away from the catch either. He used his hands. He didn't use his body. He was able to turn up the field. I think that the seam route that we hit against Ohio State really gave Decker that confidence. He got us all the way down to the 7-yard line in that third quarter. And I think that catch, that play really brought us back to this game where we wound up being able to just find him in different places and not only find him, but get some yards after the catch.
Linneus Davis has started the last 2 games. Looks like a pretty good competition there with Ontario Thompson. I think Bryce Butler. They almost share that spot a little bit opposite Uvalele.
Yeah, Ty. Yeah, so I think this past game it was like Linneus and Ontario had more of the reps than Armand and Bryce in those spots, but that's going to change every week. It's all based upon game plan. It's all based upon what we call. Are we in 5 down? Are we in 4 down? Are we playing 3 defensive linemen, interior guys at once? Are we only playing 2? How much are they playing 2 tight ends versus 1 tight end? How much are we playing Samote and Logan? But Linneus is continuing really where he left off last year, which was a really good pass rushing interior D lineman that is very physical, that can tackle the runners. So it's a pretty good combination. And it feels to me, coming off of a ankle sprain that he had in training camp, that he's back to being fully healthy. And when you see him fully healthy, there's that explosiveness and power that's coming from what I would say probably earlier on the season. He might not have had that because of coming off the injury.
You mentioned how nice it is to have depth on the O-line. Having these different options, different guys you can play against, different game plans on the interior defensive line, how important has that been to your run defense in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and it's a big part of being in the Big Ten that you've got to match up against these big offensive lines every week. I mean, I don't know, you guys that were at the game saw the size of Maryland's team. You could see that they've been recruiting to be in the Big Ten here for a few years now. They are long, they are big, they are tall, their receivers are tall, their tight ends were huge, and their their offensive line was very large. And I think that you need to really build your team in the trenches, and it's going to come from size. And it can't just be weight, can't just be height. It's got to be a combination of them both.
How would you evaluate how you've been able to find kind of a true wide receiver 2 with the injury to Rashid outside of just Denzel?
Yeah, well, I mean, Roebuck and Raiden both had probably career games for them. Not sure exactly what the final stat was, but it felt like it to me. I thought that, you've got Amari Evans is going to give us some more every week, I think. And, you still have guys like Kevin Green that could pop in. You still have guys like Chris Lawson, who's back. He had 8 plays in the game. You have guys that, you have 5 or 6 guys that could get in there and make plays. So we just got to continue to see how it's looking. But I was really proud of Raiden had a huge third down catch, kept the drive alive. That was huge part of the game. It was a 3rd and 9. I think we're down 20-0, and we hit him. Dez had a huge touchdown at 20-10 to make it 2017. So all those guys are continuing to grow. And with Decker having 6 catches and Jonah having a bunch of catches, makes it harder and harder to defend.
All right.
Okay, guys. See you after the game.